This is an orthographic projection question. So in other words, elevation, plan and end view. It's on page 116, exercise number 1. A pictorial view of a block lock is shown over. The bolt is 100 millimeters long. Draw a front elevation looking in the direction of arrow A. Draw an end elevation looking in the direction of arrow B. Draw a plan projected from A above. So we go through the drawing. I can see that the overall width, and it's not exactly clear straight away because it's a 125 and 135 mm measurement. The overall width, 135 millimeters. Overall height, 75, and the depth is 30. So from front to back, the depth is 30 millimeters. So we go and we begin setting that up. So we said it's 135 wide by 75 high. So we're starting with our elevation. I put my XY line in already. Elevation, we're making it overall 135 and overall height 75. At that stage I can set up my outline elevation. Here is my outline elevation. The elevation is broken up in the drawing, so there's measurements there, you can see them. We have 60 millimeters to step over to the start of the recess for the lock. 35 millimeters wide is the section for the recess of the lock, and then the end of the lock is a 30 millimeter measurement over. So I've stepped over 60, 35, 30, and I've set up grid lines for those. So just light construction lines. All of this is very, very light. The recess of the lock comes up 30 millimeters from the bottom. So from the base up 30 millimeters. And I come horizontally. And at that stage I can actually draw in the outline of the lock itself. The bolt or the pin has to be put in afterwards. So my outline of the lock is there, and that's pretty straightforward. To the center of the pin, so the pin has to come at the side here, to the center of the pin it says we have to come up 60 millimeters. So I measure up 60 millimeters to the center of the pin. That is a center line that's going to go on there. So in other words, the center of the pin is going to come along there. In the question it says the pin itself has a radius of 10. That means it's got a diameter of 20. So it means the pin overall is 20 millimeters, meaning I have to step up 10 and down 10. And at that stage I can draw in the pin. So the bottom line of the pin is there. Top line of the pin on the lock is there. That is my elevation drawn in. Now I come along and project the plan view of that. Plan view is always projected from the elevation. So I take down my overall width, but I'm also going to take down the position of that recess that I was talking about, the end of the lock, and the far side of the pin. So all those measurements are taken down nice and lightly. We step down 20 mm always to start our plan view. So I lightly put in the start of the plan. And we said in the question from front to back it was 30 millimeters deep. So 30 mm down. Once again, I can draw in the shape of the lock itself and the pin afterwards. So my lock without the pin is pretty straightforward. Here is my lock. But I need to put the pin into the center of this. So I need to find halfway. I'll step down 15 millimeters here because it's half of the 30, and I'll put my center line on again. So anytime we're dealing with something in the middle of an object, we put on a center line. There's my center line in. Just as the elevation, it said the diameter of the pin is 20 millimeters. We need a diameter 20 pin in plan as well, the same, so I do the exact same again. Step up and down 10 millimeters. And then I can come and draw in the pin itself in plan. So that is my plan view looking down on top of the lock. And that's it drawn. I have to come along now and project my end elevation. The end elevation, the view B was looking in from the right hand side, meaning my end view is going to end up on the left. The correct way to set up an end view is we have to use the elevation and plan to create an end view. To do that, we take the edge between the elevation and plan, this edge here, and where it hits the XY line, that point. From that, we're going to take out, it's a construction line. I'm going to show it with just long broken lines. So we take out a construction line. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the heights from elevation, and we're going to use the depths, so the front to back measurements in plan, to create our end view. To do that, I'll take the overall height of the lock over from my elevation, so lightly across, and I'm going to take the depth, so from front to back, from the plan. To do that, I just come horizontally with my T-square and vertically from where it hits the line. So the line comes out, hits the 45-degree line, and up. I do the same with the other line. Across, hit the 45-degree line, and up. And so what I've done is I've taken this 30 millimeter measurement and I've copied it into the end elevation. And that gives me the outline of the lock. So without actually using a measurement on the set square, I can redraw the end view. Now what I'm going to do is take the center point of the pin, here's the center point of the pin, across into the elevation, because the height is going to be the same. So I take my center point across. So a center point comes straight across. The center point of the plan as well is going to come across. And I'm going to bring that up into my end elevation. And what that gives me is the center of that circular pin. So took the height from elevation, took the depth from the plan, here's my depth from plan coming up, and now all I have to do is draw the circle in. I can also use the elevation to help me find the radius for the circle. I'll take either the bottom or the top, it doesn't matter. I'll take my bottom distance over just for easiness. And what that gives me now is the radius for the circle. When we're drawing a circle, we always need what we could call crosshairs. So in other words, the top and bottom of the circle and the left and right points. So it's basically a light cross. Last part then is I come along and I set my radius to the one that I brought over from the elevation, draw it in. The final part is, there's this recess cut out, or this section cut out of the lock. I know that's there, but I can't see it in the end view. When we know something exists but we cannot see it, we draw it with broken lines. So all I'm going to do is take my line across here, So I'm transferring the height across, and I'm going to show the bottom part of that recess as a broken line, dark broken line, to show that there's a recess there, but I can't see it. That is my elevation, plan, and end elevation.